and 5 others. It is unclear why the market was attacked or if any combatants were located anywhere near the targeted site. Health officials confirmed an 11-year-old boy was among those killed, however. As civilian deaths have surged in recent weeks, it's become increasingly common for such incidents to happen without any official Saudi accounting for why the site was targeted. Marketplaces and other obvious civilian targets are being hit with alarming regularity. The Shiite-dominated homeland of the Houthi movement, the Sada province, has been increasingly the focus of Saudi airstrikes, with attacks hitting population centers instead of anything remotely military in nature.
Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores.
UPI reports immigration agents conducted pre-dawn interviews at 7-Eleven stores throughout the country on Wednesday, arresting 21 people. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, said agents raided nearly 100 stores to audit employee records and interview employees, according to the Washington Post. Thomas Homan, acting director of ICE, said today's actions send a strong message to U.S. businesses that hire and employ illegal workforce. ICE will enforce the law, and if you are found to be breaking the law, you will be held accountable. The Staten Island Advance in New York reported agents raided 3 area stores. Employees at 2 of the stores said no arrests were made there. One manager, whose name was not reported, said they were here for like 15 minutes or so, then they left when everything was good. Nestor Iglesias, a spokesman for ICE, told the Sun-Sentinel in Florida that agents visited 7 stores in Broward, Miami-Dade, and Palm Beach counties. The newspaper said the audits could result in criminal charges or fines for stores found to be hiring undocumented immigrants. Agents visited 7-Eleven stores in Washington, D.C. and 17 states. Homan said ICE will continue to protect jobs for American workers by eliminating unfair competitive advantages for companies that exploit illegal immigration. In 2013, ICE officials arrested 9 7-Eleven owners and managers for employing undocumented immigrants and paid them with Social Security numbers belonging to dead people or children. All but one pled guilty to fraud charges and were required to pay more than $2.6 million in back wages.
For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
Reuters reports Vermont Senate on Wednesday passed a bill to legalize recreational cannabis use, which would make it the first state in the nation to do so through the legislative process rather than a ballot initiative. Republican Governor Phil Scott is expected to sign the bill, which passed the Democratic-controlled Senate by a voice vote. The Democratic-controlled House of Representatives passed the measure last week. Although Vermont is one of the most politically liberal states, it is also one of 23 in the nation that do not allow ballot initiatives. The Vermont bill would allow those 21 and older to possess up to 1 ounce of cannabis, 2 adult plants, and 4 immature plants beginning July 1st. It does not immediately clear the way for retail sales of cannabis, leaving that up to a commission created last year to study how it should be taxed and regulated. Passage puts the state at odds with the Trump administration. Last week, Attorney General Jeff Sessions reversed an Obama-era policy easing enforcement of federal laws banning cannabis in 8 states where it was legal. Neighboring Massachusetts, nearby Maine, and 6 other states have legalized cannabis use as a result of voter initiatives. The New Hampshire House of Representatives on Tuesday passed a similar bill to legalize recreational cannabis use. That state's governor, Republican Chris Sununu, said he is opposed to legalization. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Like most married couples, Dale and Barbara Patterson like to shake things up from time to time. The couple of 12 years says they've been able to keep their relationship spontaneous and interesting by bickering in all sorts of different positions and even different rooms.
There was a while there when our petty nitpicking got pretty predictable. Dale would finish harping on some stupid bullshit first, and before I had time to get a word in, he would just let out a groan, roll over, and fall asleep. Now he really takes his time ripping me a new one over every little thing.
Yeah, we'll just pounce on each other the second we get home from work in the evening. And then just go right back at it in the morning. I mean, sometimes we'll look at each other directly in the eyes when we're having an argument. Other times she turns her back on me and I just scream at her from behind.
We're not exactly shy about doing it in public anymore. Dale gets pretty worked up when there are people around who could be watching or listening.
I still can't believe you forgot.
Not now.
Oh, come on.
I said not now.
Oh,
what?
Don't even.
Don't even what? I asked.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. We'll give you the toll-free call-in number here momentarily where you can join us and bring up whatever is on your mind. But, of course, we always bring things to the table as well. The us in studio tonight is Daryl.
And Chris.
And Chris, you've got a story about a court ruling that I read very, very briefly, that there was a ruling in this case, but I've not looked into it any further than that. Talking about the North Carolina gerrymandering case. Where the, the 3rd district, whatever district court it is, there was a 3-judge panel, made their ruling on Tuesday. And apparently there's a question about whether or not this ruling will end gerrymandering as we know it.
That's enticing. And maybe for those of members of our audience who are not completely familiar with the term gerrymandering, Daryl, do you want to give a brief description of what that is?
Absolutely.
And
it should actually be pronounced gerrymandering because it was named after Elbridge Gerry.
Correct.
Who wound up in, the early 1800s, drawing some congressional districts, or might have been state house districts, that someone said looked like a salamander, and so then they named it the gerrymander. And the term has been used ever since to wind up applying to these oddly drawn districts that are not necessarily compact the way one would think that a district should be. So, for instance...
Why would anyone do that, Daryl? Why would
anyone think that districts should be compact?
Well, why would somebody draw this very oddly shaped congressional district?
All right, so I'm going to try painting a picture here. I'm fairly certain that everybody has seen pictures of some gerrymandered districts. The one that I used to live in, actually, in Birmingham, Alabama, covers most of the city of Birmingham, goes over to almost the Mississippi state line, down, and then over to Selma, and I think it has 1 or 2 neighborhoods of Montgomery, Alabama.
That's so very odd.
Birmingham to Montgomery is about 90 miles, straight line. This gets there the long way. And the reason it was done that way was to wind up complying with the spirit of a Supreme Court ruling that deemed that southern states needed to have at least one majority-minority district. So what the district drawers have done...
Hold on, majority-minority district. Okay, I just had to wrap my head around that one. Go ahead.
So the majority of the people in the district must belong to ethnic minorities.
Okay.
So what the district drawers have done in this particular case, and they've been doing this for decades, is they try to put as many of the ethnic minority voters in the same district as possible, while keeping the district, roughly the same size as the other districts in the state.
And I was going to ask, why would someone want to do that?
Well, the reason they did that in that case was to comply with that Supreme Court ruling of having the majority-minority district, because Alabama does not have voter registration based on political party. Okay. It has voter registration based on voter race. So on the form, it asks, up under, name, birth date, are you a U.S. citizen? Mm-hmm. What is your race?
That's crazy.
And that's how they determine their voter districts or congressional districts, House districts, etc., is based on race. Now, states like North Carolina that we're going to be talking about, California, New Hampshire, where we live, voter registration is based on political party, to where you declare a political party, and then in cases like that, you have the district drawers that will wind up wanting to make sure that either their party maintains a majority of the seats because, well, we know where all the Republicans live and we know where all the Democrats live, so we can draw these to make sure that there's a district with 80% of the voters in that district belong to Party X. And we can have another district to where 80% of the voters belong to Party Y. Or we can have 5 districts where 60% belong to Party Y, one district where 80% belong to Party X, and now we know who's going to wind up winning these districts because we have drawn them in such a way.
Exactly. And that to me is the biggest point, and thank you for that very accurate description.
Really what you have is you have legislators choosing their constituents. You do not have constituents choosing their legislators. And we'll get into this article. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
And again, thank you, Daryl, for bringing that in. The long and the short of it is gerrymandering is really a technique to rig the game in favor of a particular party in a given area in most examples,
right?
In most cases.
It could even be a little bit more straightforward of we want to make sure that candidate X or representative X wins, regardless of which party.
Right.
Nancy Pelosi is never going to lose an election in her district in California, not because she's a Democrat, but because her district was drawn to make sure that Nancy Pelosi never loses an election.
Right. And that's what's happened. And, we can talk about either party here, but, politicians love to say, well, it was the people's mandate brought me here, and well, it's not always that.
Right. The people's mandate is that 9% of voters showed up to vote in a primary. I had no opposition, and no one ran against me, so it made jack squat difference what happened on primary day.
All right.
And that even happens a lot more than people think. About 25% of U.S. House races, there is no opposition at all in the general election.
Right.
And in a lot more races, there's no opposition in the primary. And in a lot more races, it doesn't matter if there's opposition in the general election because the district was drawn in such a way as to make sure that somebody got reelected.
Right. And that's why we don't always have the actual choice that we feel like we have.
Right. You have the illusion of choice.
Exactly. So this comes to us from CNN. Tuesday's ruling by a 3-judge panel that the North Carolina congressional map is unconstitutional due to the fact that it was drawn primarily with political motives in mind is a big deal.
And I want to stop you right there because they sort of gloss over something that is very key to this particular case. The districts were drawn with political motives in mind. And there are other cases before various federal courts about gerrymandering that have nothing to do with whether or not it was partisan gerrymandering, but just whether or not the district was gerrymandered for some other reason.
Right. Why does this matter? I reached out, and I being the author of the article, reached out to redistricting expert Justin Levitt, the Associate Dean for Research at Loyola Law School in Los Angeles, for some answers. Our conversation, conducted via email and lightly edited for flow, is below. Levitt, it makes clear that using the redistricting process...
Hold on, you missed the question.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, you're right.
The question was, North Carolina ruling seems to make clear that political gerrymandering is unconstitutional. Is that a right reading?
Right. Levitt answers, it makes clear that using the redistricting process to inflict partisan injury To use the tools of government to subordinate one party and entrench another is unconstitutional. It does not preclude all consideration of politics or even partisanship.
There's more to the answers and the questions here about the political gerrymandering, the partisan gerrymandering, plus your calls. 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
She's such a beautiful little puppy. I mean, we walk around the block, and neighbors always say, her hair is so beautiful.
Healthy and shiny and glossy. DINOVITE.com.
Fatty acids, omega-3s, and omega-6s are great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
I would really recommend people starting their puppies on Dinovite before they get into what I would call the misery index. Bad skin, bad ears, bad breath.
Because if they're getting all their vitamins, micronutrients, microbials from the beginning, then you're not going to run into the problems associated with the allergies, grass, pollen, dust, dirt, fleas, ticks, you name it, and the itching and shedding down the road.
Our vitamins and enzymes replace the nutrients cooked out of most commercial dog foods.
Dinovite for life.
This is Ed Lukasevic.
And Cindy Lukasevic.
Inviting you and your pets to Dinovite.
859-428-1000. DINOVITE.com.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. 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 I've said it many times on air, and I'll say it here. The New Hampshire Liberty Alliance is one of the most important organizations for freedom in the world. New Hampshire is ground zero for freedom, and the NHLA is the best organization at promoting effective liberty activism. This ad is sponsored by Free Talk Live, and I, Mark Edge, am a lifetime member because I believe in the NHLA. Please check them out at nhliberty.org. Not everyone can move right now, but you can support the cause. Donate top cryptocurrencies or old-fashioned U.S. dollars, nhliberty.org. Visit their website and see what they're all about, nhliberty.org.
You know how annoying it is when someone keeps stopping mid-sentence as though he or she were asking you a series of questions? Avoid doing that. It sounds unnervingly tentative, and it imposes upon the listener to help you complete the thought. And if you're a job seeker, this alone could be a deal killer. An effective communicator sounds more confident. Complete the thought. Avoid making the listener impatient. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. Cutting through the clutter rather than blending into the blah, blah, blah will help you connect better no matter what the conversation. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook. survivalspeech.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Daryl.
And Chris.
and we're talking about partisan gerrymandering, that thing that exists to where congressional districts and sometimes state house districts, state senate districts, that they're not drawn to really fit the voter. They're drawn to fit the politicians. But I'll tell you something that is made to fit you specifically, and that is MyPillow. It is the best pillow that I've ever used. I've been using this thing for a couple of years. Chris, you've had one for a good while longer, and you too can get one risk-free for 60 days. Again, talking about the MyPillow. This thing is designed to fit to the shape of your body, hold your neck in the proper position. Again, I've been using it for a couple of years, and I can definitely say it's the best pillow I've ever had. And unlike a regular pillow that winds up collecting dirt and dead skin over the years, well, the MyPillow, it's not immune to dirt and dead skin, but you can throw it in the washer, throw it in the dryer, and it is still usable after turning on said washer and dryer as well. Go to MyPillow.com. Use code FTL, as in Free Talk Live. Get your very own MyPillow at half price, or get a second pillow free of charge. And remember, if for some reason you don't like it in the first 60 days, you get your money back. And the pillow itself, guaranteed to last 10 years. That's MyPillow.com, code FTL. Again, Chris and Daryl, I'm Daryl, he's Chris, talking about the court ruling out of North Carolina about the partisan gerrymandering, where the court ruled that, yeah, some of the districts in North Carolina were gerrymandered for partisan reasons. 3-judge panel said that these districts have to be redrawn. Article from CNN includes an interview here, a sort of edited interview from Chris Cillizza, who was interviewing Justin Levitt, an associate dean for research at Loyola Law School in Los Angeles. So, Chris, again, we just got into the first question and answer, where the author of the article says that the ruling seems to make clear that political gerrymandering is unconstitutional. Is that a correct reading?
Correct. And Levitt responds, it makes clear that using the redistricting process to inflict partisan injury, to use the tools of government to subordinate one party and entrench another, is unconstitutional. It does not preclude all considerations of politics or even partisanship, but it does say that the legislature can't use levers of state power to try to artificially and durably relegate one political party to second-class status.
All right, so without having read the actual ruling out of North Carolina, I'm just trying to sort of, parse the terms used here in sort of the recap, to where it says that, yeah, it's unconstitutional to use your power, Republicans or Democrats, to maintain your power, but it's not necessarily illegal to take politics and partisanship into consideration when drawing districts.
Yeah, and I think maybe during our next pause for commercials, maybe we'll dig up that ruling and see if we can get a few more details. But, Daryl, if you want to ask the questions as he reads them, I'll respond. That way it makes me sound really smart.
Yes. Give me 1 second here. The next question. In the near term, what does North Carolina need to do to comply with the ruling? Are we talking about totally different congressional maps for the election coming up in, 10 months?
Right. Well, the court said that they would have to redraw districts for 2018. Yes, the court gave the legislature 2 weeks to come up with a new map. The court also said that it would engage a special master, essentially someone to assist the court, to draw up an alternative just in case the legislature didn't do the job or didn't do it correctly. But all of that anticipates a new map for the midterms, yes. It is likely that North Carolina will try to get a stay of that ruling from the Supreme Court. These cases go up on direct appeal to the Supreme Court rather than through the normal appellate process. The court has issued stays like this before in Wisconsin, in Texas, and in another North Carolina matter. And given the partisan gerrymandering cases before the court right now, if North Carolina asks for a stay, it'll be a little bit of a signal if the court decides to press pause or let the remedy go forward.
So what could change the direction of the debate on partisan redistricting? Other court cases pending?
For sure. There are two now at the Supreme Court, one from Wisconsin and one from Maryland. There are also cases in Pennsylvania, including a case in state court under state law. Florida has a similar case under state law earlier this decade. There are also a number of citizens' ballot initiatives making the rounds. It's not possible in every state, but where it's permitted, citizens have been pretty active in giving their own legislatures instructions. That's how the system changed in Arizona and California, and that's how the rules were changed in Florida. And I know there are active campaigns in a few states right now that might still change the process before 2021.
All right, so before continuing with the questions, I just want to explain, because I happen to know what the system is in California.
Right.
And since it's mentioned, might as well explain it. So in California, they have an independent redistricting commission that is not made up of legislators. It is made up of regular, run-of-the-mill members of not just the Republican and Democratic Party, which both of those parties have 5 members that are elected by voters, but there are also 4 members of that commission that are not members of either party, meaning that there could be socialist worker people on there, could be Greens, could be Libertarians, could be Constitution Party, could be the American Independent Party. 4 members that are not members of either the Republican or Democratic Party. So you have a 14-member commission. And now, Chris, I'm going to ask you a question that I'm guessing you don't know the answer to.
Oh, try me, Daryl.
Of those 14 members, how many members do you think need to vote in favor of the plan that was laid out?
I would say 8.
You would be incorrect, sir.
Oh, there I go with my logic again, thinking a simple majority. But what is the answer?
California requires a majority of each group. So you need a majority of Republicans, a majority of Democrats, and a majority of those
undefined,
others.
Right. Well, that's very odd. And I guess that could explain how Nancy Pelosi does so well.
But it also makes sure that you can't just have the support of all of the Democrats and half of the others and no support from Republicans.
That's true.
And, I've seen some of these other proposals for what they call independent redistricting commissions that are basically just Republicans and Democrats. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. What are your thoughts on gerrymandering? Should it die?
Frustrated trying to get business capital? Want to take the slow process and rejection out of the equation? GCNLoans.com removes the slow, irritating approval process. Instead, get quick, simple funding. Powered by David Allen Capital, 80% of our pre-qualified clients are approved in days. Pre-qualify at GCNLoans.com and get your money this week. It's that easy. GCNLoans.com. That's GCNLoans.com.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
Free Talk Live.
You're privileged to drive the road. You must follow the laws.
No, I don't have to.
You're going to make you're going to double park and you're going to make a left-hand turn in front of a cop?
Can I respond to you here, Barbara?
Go right ahead.
I'm not going to run a red light in front of a cop because he has a gun and is willing to hurt me, but I've run plenty of...
Wrong. He's not going to hurt you. He's going to give you a ticket.
Oh, but if I decide not to pull over, what will he do?
Well, you're not obeying the law.
Barbara, I don't obey arbitrary words written down by strangers. I obey natural law, Barbara. That means if I do something, I expect consequences will come from that, sometimes good, sometimes bad.
You run a red light, somebody comes around and you kill them.
I would never run a red light like that. When I run a red light, I stop first, look around, make sure no one is in danger, and then I go through.
Oh, you are such a phony.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless free market non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Daryl.
And Chris.
And did you know that there are multiple ways that you can listen to and watch Free Talk Live? Yeah, that's right. You can watch Free Talk Live. We're now on Twitch. I don't know the easy way to tell you how to find us on Twitch, but we are on Twitch.
You can download the Twitch app on your iPhone or on your Android device and just search for Free Talk Live. That's one way.
But I'm fairly certain that if you go to like listen.freetalklive.com, you will find a link over to the Twitch. Hopefully, Ian is in the other room, probably listening to my voice right now, who will come in and nod his head in agreement if listen.freetalklive.com has a link to the Twitch. So we're talking about, and there's also like chat rooms and stuff built in to some of the various ways that you can listen to the show. So we're talking about the ruling out of North Carolina regarding redistricting, specifically because it was alleged, and the court affirmed, that there was partisan gerrymandering going on in North Carolina. Now, Chris, very quickly, can you summarize again what gerrymandering is?
Sure. Gerrymandering is the activity taken on primarily by political people that are Democrats and Republicans to try to carve up congressional districts and other districts in such a way that ensures their continued election. It is manipulating the system by drawing really weird-shaped districts to get the results that they want.
Yes, and I did find the court ruling out of whatever district that is down there in North Carolina, and it's 205 pages. Now, that does include a dissenting opinion, so this was not a unanimous ruling out of this court, but again, it was mentioned that if the election officials in North Carolina appeal this ruling, it would go directly to the Supreme Court. It would not pass go, would not collect $200. But there are already 2 cases that the U.S. Supreme Court is planning to hear this session, one out of Wisconsin, one out of Maryland. There's also a case in Pennsylvania that was referenced in this article from CNN. And actually, headline, federal judge upholds Pennsylvania's congressional map in gerrymandering case. We'll jump into that maybe in just a little bit as well. But again, the article here from CNN has an interview that was conducted via email between the reporter and Justin Levitt, Associate Dean for Research at Loyola Law School in Los Angeles. Question: this has implications well beyond North Carolina. If partisan line drawing can't be done, how do states approach the redistricting process come 2020 and 2021?
And Levitt replies, it sure does. If this decision or the decision in Wisconsin holds, it will act as a brake on partisan frenzy in the process. Redistricting unilaterally controlled by one party, and the midterms will tell us a lot about where that's likely, will likely be a little more constrained. The decision, this decision, and the one in Wisconsin are really about policing the boundaries of extreme partisan excess. If they hold, states will have to trim back from the worst extremes. It's a little like a diet. It doesn't cut partisanship out of the equation entirely, but it means you can't go back for that 4th extra helping of dessert.
Finish this sentence, Mr. Levitt. The most important impact of this North Carolina ruling for national politics is blank.
In the immediate term, the impact is on North Carolina congressional seats in 2018. This case might lead to redrawing the congressional map before the midterms in a way more friendly to Democrats' efforts to make gains in that House.
All right, so pause here briefly. He says it might lead the way for redrawing districts. Well, no, they're going to have to redraw the districts. That's what the court ruled. The court mandated you must by, and I have the dates here, by January 29th, you must wind up giving us a plan.
Right.
And so I think what he's actually trying to say is that it might wind up helping the Democrats instead of helping the Republicans. Just the way he worded this answer of it might lead to redrawing the district. No. It will redraw the districts because that's what the court said must happen.
Yeah.
So continue with his answer where he talks about in the longer term.
In the longer term, the impact is the solidification of courts pushing back on legislatures abusing their authority. It's way too easy for legislators to conflate personal interest and party interest with public interest when their jobs are at stake. Representatives shouldn't be choosing their constituents to lock in partisan power against the normal electoral tides. Courts are starting to recognize that under state law, under federal law, in a bunch of different states. More generally, courts have been offering increasingly robust protections of voter rights and of civil rights of late. The third branch is making its voice felt, not least because the citizens seem increasingly fed up with the recent partisan extremes. So it's good, but I don't want anybody to think that I really take issue with the title of this. It could change the face of gerrymandering as we know it. Well, it's a baby step. It happens in one state, and regardless of who rules on it, then it will simply be precedent. It's not anybody coming down and saying gerrymandering is now illegal and.
Right, and one of the sort of bad things about precedent, if you will, is that precedent can change based on who's in power and who decides to hear what when. That's how court precedent works, to where one judge interprets something, and then a later judge uses that interpretation to help influence his interpretation, and then sometimes later judges wind up saying, no, you know what, that judge 50 years ago was completely wrong.
Right.
Sometimes rightly so, sometimes wrongly so.
Or sometimes they never have an opportunity to reverse it. And Buck versus, what the heck is the case?
Bell?
Yeah, Buck
v. Bell.
Buck v. Bell in, I believe, the state of Virginia,
and then,
the Commonwealth of Virginia.
And then the Kiramatsu decision, also never been reheard.
Right.
Never been overturned.
So in the case of Buck v. Bell, it was ruled that the state could require the forced sterilization of people who were basically suffering from mental disabilities, that it was okay for the state to come down, for a judge to say, we don't want her to breed, so sterilize her. Yes. That one's still standing. Korematsu versus U.S. was the case. Korematsu trying to fight the constitutionality of internment camps.
Let's call them what they are. Concentration camps. Now, I've had people take issue with me using that term previously because they said there were no gas chambers in the internment camps with the Japanese and American. Doesn't matter. You're concentrating them in small areas and then interning them.
Yeah, you can call them that. You can call them prisons. You can call it whatever you want. But what there was not in any of that was due process.
Correct.
It was simply based on race. And that was I think one of the darker things that our country has done against its own citizens. These were U.S. citizens.
Yeah.
So in another article related to this gerrymandering, the Republicans down there are just up in arms at this, how dare this judge rule against us in this. So they're definitely feeling that this does not favor them at all, and God forbid we do this.
Plus, there's the ruling out of Pennsylvania, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, that we'll get into. Plus, your calls and thoughts. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynovite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite.
Dynovite for life.
Pick up 2 tubes of Doggo Suds.
Get the 3rd tube free.
Peppermint, tea tree, lavender, Doggo Sud shampoo.
Made with all-natural coconut, jojoba, aloe. Great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
But no itchy, harsh chemicals.
Lather up, rinse away.
Try Doggo Suds. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at Zencash.com. That's Zencash.com.
Warning: if you're drowning in debt you can't afford, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to pay it all back, because you don't. What the credit card companies don't want you to know is that there's actually a way to get debt-free without paying off your entire debt or going bankrupt. If you have $5,000 or more in credit card debt, you now have the right to let us settle that debt for a fraction of what you owe. For free information, call Credit Associates now. 1-800-959-5759. We'll even show you how much money you could save. If you can't afford to pay off all your debt, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to. Call Credit Associates now for free information on how to get debt-free faster than you ever thought possible, without debt consolidation or bankruptcy. We depend on your success and offer a guarantee, so there's no risk. For free information, call now. 1-800-959-5759. That's 1-800-959-5759. 1-800-959-5759.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way.
You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring Simon to the rally.
Walk with me.
Well,
I'm comfortable here, actually.
Whoa,
Hey.
Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
Now, I have work today. You ain't gonna make. Wait now. Wait a minute.
Really forget it.
Whoa. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me? Because you're scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this?
Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Daryl.
And Chris.
And cryptocurrencies are hot right now, but crypto is where it's at because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarist who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations and are creating a secure platform for money and messaging that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com. Now, something that is not Zen at all is partisan gerrymandering. And headline from CNN is that partisan gerrymandering, and I'm basically paraphrasing the headline, partisan gerrymandering dead after North Carolina redistricting ruling. Which,
not so much.
Not really, because, again, the summarization of the ruling is you can't have partisanship be the sole reason that you draw a district the way you do, but it can be factored into the equation.
Right.
It just can't be, the multiplier, if you will. It can be something that you add to something else. Oh, incumbent plus partisanship equals district, but it can't be partisanship multiplied by partisanship plus incumbent.
Yeah, and I think why this is really news is this is from another CNN article on the same subject, but, quote, the opinion is the first federal court ruling to strike down a congressional map as representing a partisan gerrymander. Which doesn't surprise me. And as the other article spoke of, there have been various actions at the state level, either by referendum or by state legislatures or state courts and things like that. Courts, not legislatures. They love this stuff.
Yeah. And as mentioned, there are a couple of cases in the Supreme Court right now, one from Wisconsin, which was actually argued in October, but ruling has not come out yet. And then there's a case out of Maryland that the Supreme Court picked up about a month ago, and article from the New York Times on that mentioning that Supreme Court added a second partisan gerrymandering case to its docket, suggesting that the justices are seriously considering whether voting maps warped by politics may sometimes cross a constitutional line. And then it mentions the court, and I'm guessing they mean the Supreme Court, has never struck down a voting district as an unconstitutional partisan gerrymander. And as mentioned, federal judge in Pennsylvania upholds congressional map in gerrymandering case. So basically, what we have here are contradictory court rulings out of districts. Surprise, surprise. You've got one group of judges saying, nope, you can't partisan gerrymander, and another group saying, yeah, it's okay in this case. Ultimately, it will be up to the 9 men and women wearing black muumuus sitting in the court building in Washington, D.C.
I always thought they were robes, but you're alleging they wear muumuus.
They're basically muumuus.
Muumuus? Okay.
It's basically a black muumuu. Or a dress. Well, whatever you want to call it.
I just call them robes.
They like to call them robe because robe sounds fancier.
It does, but it doesn't give them any more power to be dressed the way they do. Yeah, it's interesting. I was just looking a little bit into the Maryland case, and this has to do with Western Maryland, and I know exactly the area they're talking about. They tried to gerrymander a congressional district so that it included parts of Montgomery County, which is right outside of D.C.,
right?
Heavily Democrat. And
because it's right outside of D.C.
Right, but as you move further west in Western Maryland, it becomes very conservative very quickly.
Yes.
So the idea was, okay, if we include this little bit of Montgomery County, which has a huge population compared to Western Maryland.
Correct.
You can just switch those counties over, or those congressional districts, to being primarily Republican to primarily Democrat.
Right.
Interesting.
And we will get into the case out of Pennsylvania, but first to the phones. We've got Rudy calling in from Bullhead, Arizona, listening to K-Talks. Rudy, you're on Free Talk Live with Daryl and Chris. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hey, guys. This is a good subject. You know, I'm an old fart. I mean, I've been around for a long time, and I've watched this happen gradually. And, yeah, of course it's manipulated. It's okay, like Pennsylvania voted 50.5 Democrat in the last election.
Mm-hmm.
Yet they have half of the votes, and they only got 1/4 of the congressmen.
Got the
the
state house. Is that what you're referring to? Yeah.
Yeah. No.
He's saying the congressional districts in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
They're very heavily skewed towards Republicans. And again, having formerly lived in Pennsylvania, both me and Chris did, we can tell you that there's Pittsburgh and Philly with Kentucky, Alabama in the middle, to where it's very conservative between those two extremes. And I'm not just using extremes in some sort of derogatory term, but Pittsburgh is all the way on the west. Philly is all the way on the east. So, you know, they're opposite ends of the state, and, that big, giant part in the middle, I've actually heard people refer to as Pennsyltucky.
Probably by me.
No, even when I lived in Pennsylvania.
I lived in Pennsyltucky.
Go ahead with your thought, Rudy.
I've never lived in the South, but the most racist state I ever lived in was Michigan.
Gotcha.
Oh, my. Oh, my. I'm serious. Anyway, what is it? Whoever wins whoever is in control of the state on the zero, like 10, 20, 30, right? They get to, whoever's in power at that time, they get to they get to redraw the districts.
Unless there are provisions in statute, like what the article from CNN mentioned, that Arizona has some kind of something to where it's not necessarily the legislators drawing the districts. California has something to where it's not the legislators. But for the most part, you've got the legislators that then decide who their constituents are going to be after the year 2022 or 2032. Except in this case, in North Carolina, where judge says, all right, guys, you've got 2 weeks to draw up some new districts. Or remember there was the case in Texas about a decade ago to where the Texas legislature decided just in the middle between the two censuses, they said, yeah, you know what, we want to draw another redistricting because we can wind up helping ourselves out here.
This is...
Because they were...
Go ahead.
They were not playing fair. It was a power grab to the max.
Oh yeah,
right. It's always a power grab. That's what happens.
Yeah, this is a little bit more from this article regarding Maryland. The legislator, quote, reshuffled fully half of the district's 720,000 residents, far more than necessary to correct the mere 10,000 person imbalance in the district's population following the 2010 census. That resulted in a more than 90,000 voter swing in favor of Democrats, and the share of registered Republicans fell from 47% to 33%. So that's just, I mean, if you want it to be this way, if you're in power, you can make it that way.
Yeah. Rudy, thank you for the call. Let's go to Atticus calling in from California. Atticus, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hello?
Yep, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
I would like to talk about Bitcoin today, and I'm actually a child.
Okay, go ahead.
So I wanted to know your opinion on if teachers should be teaching about currency such as Bitcoin.
The question was about your teachers talking about Bitcoin?
Yeah, and I wanted to know your opinion if you think teachers should be talking about Bitcoin in school.
You're breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, you're starting to break up, so I'm going to go ahead and let go of the call, but please listen to the answer. I don't think that government schools should exist, but if they do, I have no problem with some teacher talking about cryptocurrencies.
No, they're going to talk about other types of currencies, and I think a little representation of free market solutions is always a good thing.
Yeah, hey, here's something that's not government-issued money. It's called cryptocurrency. Yeah, go ahead. Talk about it. This is Free Talk Live. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, January 11th, 2018. Silver is trading at $17.01 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,319 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $55, and the average price of Bitcoin is $13,802. Antiwar.com reports further adding to the soaring civilian death toll in Yemen. Saudi warplanes attacked a marketplace in northern Yemeni Sada province on Wednesday, killing at least 11 people and wounding 5 others. It is unclear why the market was attacked or if any combatants were located anywhere near the targeted site. Health officials confirmed an 11-year-old boy was among those killed, however. As civilian deaths have surged in recent weeks, it's become increasingly common for such incidents to happen without any official Saudi accounting for why the site was targeted. Marketplaces and other obvious civilian targets are being hit with alarming regularity. The Shiite-dominated homeland of the Houthi movement, the Sada province, has been increasingly the focus of Saudi airstrikes, with attacks hitting population centers instead of anything remotely military in nature. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. UPI reports immigration agents conducted pre-dawn interviews at 7-Eleven stores throughout the country on Wednesday, arresting 21 people. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, ICE, said agents raided nearly 100 stores to audit employee records and interview employees, according to the Washington Post. Thomas Homan, acting director of ICE, said today's actions send a strong message to U.S. businesses that hire and employ illegal workforce. ICE will enforce the law, and if you are found to be breaking the law, you will be held accountable. The Staten Island Advance in New York reported agents raided 3 area stores. Employees at 2 of the stores said no arrests were made there. One manager, whose name was not reported, said they were here for like 15 minutes or so, then they left when everything was good. Nestor Iglesias, a spokesman for ICE, told the Sun-Sentinel in Florida that agents visited 7 stores in Broward, Miami-Dade, and Palm Beach counties. The newspaper said the audits could result in criminal charges or fines for stores found to be hiring undocumented immigrants. Agents visited 7-Eleven stores in Washington, D.C. and 17 states. Homan said ICE will continue to protect jobs for American workers by eliminating unfair competitive advantages for companies that exploit illegal immigration. In 2013, ICE officials arrested 9 7-Eleven owners and managers for employing undocumented immigrants and paid them with Social Security numbers belonging to dead people or children. All but one pled guilty to fraud charges and were required to pay more than $2.6 million in back wages. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports Vermont Senate on Wednesday passed a bill to legalize recreational cannabis use, which would make it the first state in the nation to do so through the legislative process rather than a ballot initiative. Republican Governor Phil Scott is expected to sign the bill, which passed the Democratic-controlled Senate by a voice vote. The Democratic-controlled House of Representatives passed the measure last week. Although Vermont is one of the most politically liberal states, it is also one of 23 in the nation that do not allow ballot initiatives. The Vermont bill would allow those 21 and older to possess up to 1 ounce of cannabis, 2 adult plants, and 4 immature plants beginning July 1st. It does not immediately clear the way for retail sales of cannabis, leaving that up to a commission created last year to study how it should be taxed and regulated. Passage puts the state at odds with the Trump administration. Last week, Attorney General Jeff Sessions reversed an Obama-era policy, easing enforcement of federal laws banning cannabis in 8 states where it was legal. Neighboring Massachusetts, nearby Maine, and 6 other states have legalized cannabis use as a result of voter initiatives. The New Hampshire House of Representatives on Tuesday passed a similar bill to legalize recreational cannabis use. That state's governor, Republican Chris Sununu, said he is opposed to legalization. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
A report on obesity rates released this week by the CDC confirmed that millions of courageous Americans continue to overcome the media's persistent pressure to be thin. Researchers told reporters that while the vast majority of film and television continues to portray thin, in-shape people, over 30% of Americans remain resolved in their effort to stand up to idealized images of men and women.
Every day, people are inundated with unvarying images of slim men and women, but millions of heroic Americans continue doing their best every day to maintain BMIs 35 or higher. These people aren't afraid to fly in the face popular culture deems acceptable and bravely eat and drink whatever they want, whenever they want.
In other news, the nation's single men announce a plan to change their bed sheets by 2019. A woman who left the room crying earlier expects to jump back into the party just like that. And a courtroom artist is clearly infatuated with the bailiff. This 2.5-minute-long session of immersion therapy is finally complete. Your crippling fear of watching video news recaps should no longer be a problem. For more, keep checking theonion.com.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, kicking off hour number 2 in studio. It's Daryl.
And Chris.
And we've been talking about gerrymandering. And we're probably going to continue talking about just because there's been so much in the news recently about gerrymandering because, well, there have been some court rulings about it. North Carolina federal court said that the districts drawn in North Carolina, yep, those were drawn using partisan gerrymandering, and you can't do that, ... in this specific case.
That's how it goes.
There are 2 cases pending in the U.S. Supreme Court, and there was a case in Pennsylvania that also alleged partisan gerrymandering, but guess what? That court didn't agree with the court down in North Carolina. We'll jump into that and, of course, your calls and thoughts. 855-450-FREE. Let's go to Skype. Speaking of Pennsylvania, we've got Ricky calling in. Ricky, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
That'd be the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania there, brother Darrell.
Yep, already mentioned that it was the Commonwealth about 3 times earlier. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking about that. Very important. Brother Chris.
Yes, sir.
Ricky.
I know.
All right, now check this out, brother.
Go ahead.
I was here the other night, and, it was a long time. Now, I remember last time I talked to you about this. I talked about running for a certain district, 189. Well, you know what? I just contacted my campaign manager today because Oprah Winfrey says she's going to run for president, it looks like. Well, you know what? I see where the Democratic Party needs to go. You know what I mean? Back to their roots. I'm a Dixiecrat, Brother Chris?
I would have never guessed that, particularly since you're north of the Mason-Dixon line, but go ahead.
Well, I'm an anti-federalist. And what an anti-federalist before? Now, if I'm elected, I'll tell you this. If I get on the ballot, I will be elected. First of all, legalization without any taxation of cannabis. I want all the money to go to the Commonwealth for farming. So does the congressman's office. But also, I want to deregulate alcohol. I finally want to get rid of the Liquor Control Board and its corruption with that damn stupidity of that license.
Oh, it's horrible in Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah. And now here's another thing, too. So, I've used it to blow away the policy with the bus company. But, I'm going to go up there, and I will try my best to introduce bills, and I will talk to my other constituents. Not that I can guarantee it. But everybody deserves to protect themselves, everybody. And I'm going to try to do something unprecedented in Pennsylvania because we have Section 1, 21, and 25 and 26, and they are absolute. It's a state in the middle. It isn't the Commonwealth. It isn't the Federalists. It's a damn state, and I'm tired of it. Now, if you're a felon, if you want to go to a gun shop, you go buy a gun there, because they're not gonna. I hope there's some stupid ones who do. It'll be easy to catch them. Everybody has the right to protect themselves if you're free on the street.
No argument.
I'm going to go, there's more. Rosemary Brown, my would-be opponent, when I go on the ballot, she gets paid $87,500 a year. My answer? I don't believe that's right. I don't have any interest in making money.
No, I think it is right. I think she does make $87,500 a year.
She is. And you know what my answer is? Here's what I look at it. I do what I do and put my ass out there for free now. I'm going to put my ass out there then. And every single vote that I push through on every single bill that I vote on will be absolute that the constitutional rights in those 28 sections of a Pennsylvanian, regardless of what the damn state says. That is how I will vote. And people can look, because as far as I'm concerned, you know, if they think I'm not voting right and I'm not voting to keep my promises, hey, there you go. I got 2 years. I don't get in there long. You know, and I mean, I'm tired of it. You know, everybody has the right to protect themselves. You know, Pennsylvania, if we remove the damn state, the only time the word state is mentioned in any of our stuff is in Section 21. It's appropriate. You know, that's the only time. And it's to make it obvious with those prepositions. Yeah, you need to defend yourself against the state because the state's an enemy. And yeah, I'll tell you another thing too. You know, it's not going to be a main focus point of me. But you know what? I'm going to be wearing and embracing the Southern Cross. Plenty of people know me. And if I'm asked, I say definitely. The state, the enemy.
Hold on. So you're going to wear that as a cape when you go to the State House?
I embrace my body into it.
Okay.
Thank you for the
Hold
call,
on.
Ricky.
I wanted to know if he was running as a Republican or a Democrat. Is he going to try to go against the incumbent?
He did say Democrat. He also said anti-federalist. And he threw around a bunch of terms and... Yeah.
Well, in either case, I mean, that district in the last, let me see, since 1969 has had 3 Democrats and 2 Republicans. Currently, the seat's held by Rosemary Brown, who he mentioned, who is a Republican. So, Ricky, all I can say, if you're still listening, is please run. Please run, and make sure you have somebody out there filming and posting to YouTube.
And make sure you get all of your petition signatures properly in order, because Pennsylvania does require major party candidates to collect signatures.
Yep.
And chances are that somebody will wind up challenging your petitions, which means that you will then have to pay court cost out of pocket as the defendant.
I'm not concerned with any of that. I just want to see Ricky's campaign. I want to follow it. I want to see it from start to finish. I don't want to miss a minute of this, Ricky. Everything you do, carry a camera, a phone with you, get other people to help you out, but just document this.
And make a YouTube channel.
Should the Federalists defeat you, then you'll be able to put together an outstanding documentary of how twisted this, I nearly said state, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania has become, and your efforts to fix it. So,
twisted like a gerrymandered congressional district, maybe?
Something like that, yes.
So, yeah, as we did mention, the federal courts upheld Pennsylvania's gerrymandered congressional districts. Story here from WHYY. A panel of federal judges upheld the congressional district map on Wednesday in a 2-to-1 split decision, saying it was constitutional. In the majority decision, Chief Judge D. Brooks Smith ruled that the plaintiff's claim is a political question, inappropriate for the courts. Smith wrote, "The structural change plaintiffs seek must come from the political branch or the political process itself, not the courts." So basically,
that's just kind of punting.
They wound up washing their hands of this and saying, yeah, I know that we're the courts and it's been construed here in the United States of America that courts are supposed to make these decisions, but this is a decision that we don't wish to make, so therefore, no.
Yeah, and that's not unusual. Oftentimes, courts will not want to take on a hot issue, so they can answer the way this court did. And sometimes I do believe they rightfully leave it up to what the Constitution may say in a given circumstance, which may be that this is the responsibility of the legislature, not up to the courts to decide. So I sort of one-handed clap them for that.
In this particular case, a group of about 20 Pennsylvania voters from around the state claimed lawmakers intentionally rigged the map in favor of Republicans over Democrats in an effort they believed violated the U.S. Constitution. The arguments hinged on a novel interpretation of the Elections Clause, which grants state legislatures the power to set rules regarding the time, place, and manner of congressional elections. Attorneys for the plaintiffs argued that the clause limits state governments, though, to procedural rules and prevents it from interfering with or manipulating election outcomes.
I don't know about that. I mean, it's pretty vague. I mean, there is not much in the Constitution other than delegating that power to the states' legislatures to determine how they're going to do it.
Time, place, and manner of congressional elections. But, yeah, you can go ahead and manipulate the outcomes all you want, as long as you're not, somehow something, time, place, and manner.
Yeah. And
everybody named Chris is prohibited from voting.
And there are a lot of parts of the U.S. Constitution that are vague, and some of those work in your favor, some of it works against you.
And more from this, plus your calls and thoughts. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. What are your thoughts on political partisan gerrymandering? This is Free Talk Live.
Thinking about getting into cryptocurrency but feel overwhelmed by the high price of Bitcoin? Or maybe you've used Bitcoin in the past, but were turned off by the high transaction fees and slow transfer times. It's time you looked into Dash. Dash is digital international money that you can send anywhere, anytime for less than a nickel. With Dash, your transactions can be instant and private. Dash offers a fully incentivized and decentralized peer-to-peer network where miners are rewarded for keeping the network fast, strong, and safe for its users. Start your journey at Dash.org. Since its launch in 2014, Dash has made a huge impact in the crypto world and is showing no signs of stopping. Check out Dash.org for more information about Dash. And get in now on the future of cryptocurrency. Dash.org.
Crimes of the Crown by Captain Mark. The Crown casts the world in shadow and claims to be our guiding light. Cowards clamor for security from boogeymen and ghost stories, while I say these hobgoblins are imaginary. I say those they propped up as our liberators are now subsisting on our bondage. I say there is freedom in the black, and that's exactly where we intend to go. The Crown banishes its own officers for exposing its crimes and tortures dissidents to the brink of madness. It dominates the globe and swallows the wealth of generations, leaving only blood and excrement. The Crown calls it piracy to explore frontiers beyond its grasp. So the time has come for us to define the conduct among pirates. I say the Crown has trampled our necks long enough. Need decentralized solutions to centralized problems? Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels, or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com. We won't be hard to find.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You know, we had somebody call in earlier to ask us about cryptocurrencies, specifically Bitcoin. Well, you know a great place that you can go to get all kinds of news about cryptocurrencies? News.bitcoin.com. Headline from earlier today, Venezuela. And we talked about the Petro that Venezuela is going to roll out here. It's going to be a pre-mine. They're pre-mining.
Of course.
And launching it in 6 weeks. That is the headline if you actually jump into the article. Apparently, the Venezuelan cryptocurrency was declared illegal, but Nicolas Maduro has announced plans to go ahead with a pre-mine of the Petro and launch it in the next 6 weeks. The Venezuelan superintendent of cryptocurrencies and related activities announced during a Venezuelana de Televisión broadcast on Wednesday. The Petro will not be mineable, but will be pre-mined. That is, the complete emission will be under control of the country. In addition, it will be assigned with a procedure similar to that of an auction. And continuing, in the period of a month and a half, the sale of the Petro cryptocurrency will take place, and people will be able to create their digital wallets. You can read all about that and more. Kodak. You know Kodak, the camera company, they've apparently launched their own cryptocurrency, and I saw on Twitter that apparently they're selling some cryptocurrency mining rig at the CES show in Vegas that's going on right now.
Yeah, that's going to be part of it. A couple other notes on this whole story. The Venezuelan story. The Parliament has called the president's $5.9 billion Petro cryptocurrency, quote, a new fraud. Shocking.
Yeah, that a legislative body would wind up telling the truth.
Yeah. The other thing, regarding the Kodak thing, yeah, they are including a $3,400 miner, which does not make economic sense. The act of mining requires a lot of electricity.
Yes.
And based on the payouts, you basically split any rewards from the mining equipment with Kodak. So it doesn't even make economic sense to do. So
yeah,
not sure where they're at with that.
Let's go to the phones. We've got Thiessen calling in from Grand Pass, Oregon. You're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
That's got to be Grants Pass.
Yeah, Grants Pass, Oregon.
I've been there.
Yeah, go ahead with your thoughts.
Yeah, so the dog rape epidemic, I mean, it's getting out of hand, you know.
Hold on. What epidemic? What epidemic are you talking about here?
The dog rape epidemic, you know, with all these refugees coming in here.
No, I don't know about any dog rape epidemic at all. Where are you getting this news?
Yeah, please source
From my mom. My mom's giving me this news, you know, when we go to church, you know, they have all these rants. They go, they refugees, they're coming.
Thank you for the call. Let's go to Dan calling in from Nebraska. Dan, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Oh, thank you, Daryl. So the other day, I was driving home from university, and I guess I just realized, like, on the side of the road, that they started putting up these ordinances now that you cannot stand on the median. And, you know, I like this because the people of Omaha for the past, I don't know how many years, since we've elected our mayor and much before that, they were all promising, we're going to get the panhandlers off the medians. Because, it's kind of threatening when you drive, up to the thing and you got to stop at the light. They're standing right there. They could break into your car.
Does that happen often?
Well, somebody could also jump out of the car next to you at a red light and break into your car.
That's okay. Go ahead, caller. I'm sorry.
My question is, what would there be any way in a libertarian society that there would be no panhandlers standing on the medians, or would this be an issue that I'd always have to deal with in such a society? Is really the question.
I don't have a problem with the existence of panhandlers. So if I had, hold on, let me try to answer the question. So I wouldn't, try imposing any kind of rule to get rid of panhandlers, but there certainly could be things such as business owners actually owning the sidewalk in front of their business, saying you're not allowed, in the front of my business, or if roads were privately owned by, say Walmart, because what does Walmart want? They want customers to show up to their business. How do you get to their business? By driving on a road. So there are all kinds of things that are, kind of assumed by the question that either medians would still exist, or if medians do exist, would they be publicly owned? Would they be privately owned? So that there has to be, a bunch of stuff that needs to be answered before answering the question of would panhandlers stand in a median?
Right. Now, I think we'd kind of like to throw that back to you. I mean, can you imagine ways that you could reduce the problem without saying we need the state to step in and come up with a new law? Daryl laid out a couple different options there.
To be honest, I like the idea of private roads. It's actually a pretty good solution to the problem, in my own opinion, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
I guess. So thank you for that idea. Yeah. I really don't know another way in the system as it exists now, because, if somebody else, the way it was before, there was no way any of the officers here would ever had the reason to shoo them off of the medians. So there's really no other thing that the people here could have done.
So let me ask this question, Dan. How exactly, and I realize you might not have the text of the ordinance in front of you, but do you know how the ordinance is written to where it only applies to panhandlers and not, say, someone trying to cross the street that isn't able to cross all 4 lanes of traffic or 6 lanes or however many, and they have to stand in the median for some period of time?
Well, the original problem was that basically there are these certain intersections that are always being bothered with them. So this actually doesn't even apply to most of them in the city, although people have been asking all of the mayoral candidates if they will do anything about it happening all over the city. This has only been tried on one street as of this particular ordinance.
Right.
But I think that literally just use the crosswalk and wait for the light. And, unless you're going to be standing there panhandling all day, if you run across the street, run across the street again, I'm pretty sure that you're not going to get called here. And the OPD usually are not the type to get on people for petty things like this.
Dan, thank you for the call. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You know what annoys me? Not the panhandlers, but when the government bureaucrats stand there with the boot doing some kind of weird fundraising drive while saying panhandlers are the problem.
Ready-to-eat bacon. I'm talking thick, meaty, center-cut presidential bacon. Savory and delicious. I buy some, I use some, I store some. Awesome. No refrigeration needed with a 10-year shelf life. NASA pack technology. Bacon. Fully cooked, fully hydrated, ready to eat right from the packed bacon or warm and served. Life-saving, ready-to-eat bacon. 10-year shelf life bacon. Ships free at fullycookedbacon.com. Fullycookedbacon.com.
You haven't experienced yogurt until you've tried Amasi, embodying health and flavor in a true whole milk, green-fed dairy beverage. Every sip pays homage to our old world cows and the ancient culturing methods their milk benefits from. With over 30 probiotics, Amasi's undeniably nutritious, refined, cultured sensation bolsters your health and awakens your passion for dairy. Amasi's so good, and you need to try it. Contact your Youngevity distributor or call 877-878-4203 or go to gcnteam.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio, it's Daryl.
And Chris.
And if you like the fact that there is a libertarian talk radio show on about 170 radio stations across the country, and you want that show, I'm talking about Free Talk Live. If you want that show to be on even more broadcast radio stations, you can help do that by joining the AMP program. AMP is Advertise, Market, and Promote, and that $5 a month or more winds up being used to help advertise, market, and promote the show to program directors that wind up making decisions that do wind up adding us to new radio stations. And we've actually got one that hopefully we will be able to announce early next week. Again, you can go to amp.freetalklive.com to join or find out more about what exactly the AMP program entails and some of the perks that do exist. Daryl and Chris in studio tonight, and we started off talking about North Carolina because there was the court ruling that ruling yesterday, Tuesday, just a couple of days ago.
There you go.
Where the 3-judge panel in a split decision said that the North Carolina districts had been drawn using partisan gerrymandering. And, I just saw headline that North Carolina could wind up moving their primary from May to sometime later in the year because there are so many things that are still unresolved with districts and election-related things there in North Carolina.
Can we translate that to, we aren't confident we can rig the election in such a short time, so we may have to push it back so we can rig it in our favor?
Not necessarily. So there's definitely that thing, but there was also something that passed earlier. I think it was November, December of last year, dealing with election of judges and something else, to where something was I forget exactly what was removed about members of the state election board, and the governor originally vetoed because of that particular thing, and then the legislature overrode the veto, and that created some problem because, well, how do we now determine who's on the Board of Elections because it's no longer as it was? And there's just a lot of problems with election laws in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, they might wind up moving the primary, and that also winds up having the intended consequence, maybe, of giving more time to actually wind up fairly drawing the district boundaries for State House and U.S. House. Because, again, the court said you've got 2 weeks to draw this because filing deadlines are coming up.
Right.
So if they wind up moving the primary, then that also has the effect of moving the filing deadlines, which then gives a little bit more time to draw these districts in a manner that the court winds up saying, yeah, that's good. And also talking about the ruling out of Pennsylvania, where, again, there was a court case arguing that Pennsylvania's congressional districts were drawn in an unconstitutional gerrymandered way, but WHYY reports the court disagreed with the plaintiff's legal theory and said that the courts should not interfere. The head judge here says when federal courts step in, they do so at the risk of muddying the waters, potentially providing state legislatures with enough cover to argue that their hands are tied by the courts and that they're not responsible for a controversial map. Attorneys for the plaintiffs say they plan to appeal the decision to the U.S. Supreme Court.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and some of this, it seems as though they're sort of arguing at a straw man.
Of course.
Well, if we wind up saying that the legislature screwed up, the legislature's just going to wind up saying that we have tied their hands.
Of course. And this is how it goes. And, this really is, based on our current system, something that is left up to the states in the U.S. Constitution. If you want to make changes to it, if you think this is absurd and ridiculous, get involved in your system. Talk to your legislatures and see where they stand on this stuff. And if they like it, if they love it, vote them out. Get a new set of bums in there. Yeah. Maybe they'll be different. Unlikely, but maybe.
And WHYY says the ruling comes on the heels of a unanimous decision out of North Carolina. But when I pulled up the decision, there was something that said, for these reasons, I must dissent. So the 205-page ruling appears as though it was not unanimous, but WHYY says that it was. Again, that ruling struck down that state's congressional map as unconstitutional partisan gerrymandering. Plaintiff's attorney Alice Ballard, in a written statement, said, "We filed this suit because we believe the elections clause prohibits gerrymandering. In North Carolina, 3 judges said it did. In Pennsylvania, 2 judges said it did not, and a third agreed with us. 4 agree with our legal position on the elections clause, 2 do not. Only the Supreme Court can make the final decision." The article continues by saying that Pennsylvania's map is often cited as one of the most egregious examples of partisan gerrymandering in the United States. During the case proceedings, 2 high-level Republican staffers admitted that the map was created using partisan data, including past election results down to the voting precinct level. But they said that data was just one of many factors they considered, including equal population in each district, protecting incumbents, and following the Voting Rights Act. The actual data that was used to create the map was revealed in the case, obtained through court order. Questions remain, though, about exactly how it was used to shape the districts.
It's just more of the same. You know, that's all I got to say. We've talked about 2 separate cases.
Yes.
We've got 2 distinctly different decisions by federal judges. We're hoping, I guess somebody's hoping, that the Supreme Court is going to magically jump into this and fix everything and make it not be a completely and obviously rigged system that benefits whatever party happens to be in power at a given time. But it's not going to change it. It is going to provide a little bit of entertainment to those of us who are silly enough to follow these types of things, and occasionally hope that a good ruling comes out, but it's unlikely. You know, I hate to sound jaded.
Another battle over the state's congressional districts will continue next week when the Pennsylvania Supreme Court will hear arguments in a similar case. So it appears that this thing in Pennsylvania is being challenged at every level possible.
Right.
And I'm not going to hold my breath that the courts actually wind up making the right decision.
Me either.
Let's head to the phones, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Dawson, who is watching via Twitch. Go ahead, Dawson, with your thoughts. Dawson, go ahead with your thoughts. Are you there?
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead with your thoughts.
So, I would like to hear your guys' opinions on the border wall that Trump's planning on putting up to keep all these immigrants out.
Mm-hmm.
My thoughts are there should not be a wall on the border to keep anybody out, because any border wall that can keep somebody out can also keep people in. Think about the Berlin Wall. That was not built to keep people from leaving East Germany to West Germany. No, no, no. That was built and called the Anti-Fascist Protection Rampart. We've got to keep them out. This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE.
Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at Zencash.com. That's Zencash.com.
You've heard of Bitcoin Cash, but did you know there's now a Bitcoin Cash wallet? The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core wallet that allows you to send and receive either currency with anyone, anywhere in the world. The Bitcoin.com wallet supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available for Android, iOS, Windows, Mac, and even Linux. Learn more at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX That's 800-34-NO-TAX or my website, danpilla.com.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. I'm here to tell you about GCNtelecare.com, a team of board-certified doctors assisting you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Within 15 minutes of registration, care your family can afford. Revolutionizing the healthcare industry, virtual consulting providing diagnosis of non-emergency medical issues by phone or secure video on computer or smart mobile devices. GCNtelecare.com. Virtual care anywhere.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's AgristHosting.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Daryl.
And Chris.
And we just had somebody call in to ask a question about border walls, which led me to find a list of 5 things you might not know about the Berlin Wall, the most famous border wall probably of all time. And before we get into that, I want to invite you to join some of the Free Talk Live hosts in Anarchapulco. That's in Acapulco, Mexico, February 15th through the 18th for the main event. No border walls there. Make Anarchy Great Again with speakers like G. Edward Griffin, Ron Paul, Jeffrey Tucker, Larkin Rose, Bruce Fenton, Brett Venat, many, many more. Also live music from Jordan Page, Backwards, Rob Hustle, and more. Again, happening February 15th through the 18th at the Princess Resort in Acapulco, Mexico. And there's also some add-ons here. There's a health and wellness retreat. Something being called Cryptopulco, Change Media University, and an Amazonian ceremony called the Snake and the Jaguar. Your results at Anarchapulco may vary, but something that doesn't change is the 10% off you get when you use code FTL. That's FTL as in Free Talk Live. Anarchapulco.com, code FTL to get 10% off. So, what are 5 things about the Berlin Wall that you probably did not know? This comes from the UK Telegraph from about 6.5 years ago.
Breaking news.
The East German authorities denied they were planning it. then rubber-stamped it 6 weeks later. On June 15, 1961, Walter Ulbricht, the Socialist Unity Party's first secretary and German Democratic Republic State Council chairman, said at a press conference with international media, and they have this written in German, but luckily there is a translation where the translated version of what he said is, "No one has the intention of erecting a wall." On August 12th, he signed the order to do just that. 6 weeks later.
Yeah, people change their minds, Daryl. Happens.
The Berlin Wall was also known as the Anti-Fascist Protection Rampart, or, in German, Antifaschistiker Schutzwall. The West Berlin city government sometimes referred to it as the Wall of Shame, a reference to its restriction on freedom of movement. There was a recognized illness called Mauerkrankheit, wall sickness, sufferers of which are afraid of confined spaces and crowds. The psychiatrist in an East Berlin mental hospital, Dr. Dickfried Meiler-Hagerman, said it was an East German illness with symptoms including depression, delusions of persecution, and repeated suicide attempts. Number 4, in between the two walls that made up the barrier was an area known as the Death Strip. The Death Strip was covered with raked sand or gravel, which made footprints of the defectors easy to find and offered wall guards a clear line of fire. Beds of nails were also placed under balconies overhanging the Death Strip, and a total of this item number 5 on the list here, a total of 5,000 people successfully defected from East Berlin to West Berlin, using a variety of methods, including digging long tunnels under the wall, drifting over in hot air balloons, or flying in ultralights, sliding along aerial wires, and on one occasion, simply driving a sports car at full speed through the first basic fortifications. Jeez. So those are 5 things you probably did not know about the Berlin Wall. And I think the one that's most surprising to so many people is number 2, that it was referred to as the Anti-Fascist Protection Rampart by the East Berliners.
Well, it doesn't surprise me because socialism, communism are evil. There is no cuddly, warm socialism. You may think that. You may think that, well, no, the Swedish forms are pretty accessible. The Scandinavian models are those are kind of nice. And, you know, Bernie Sanders, I mean, he looks like my grandpa. What could be evil about it? It is evil. It takes people's will away from them and puts it in the hands of the state. And this is something that must be fought at every turn. And I'm not coming across as, I don't mean to come across as a, you know, raging neocon on this. I'm not. I'm saying this as someone with libertarian principles. This is an evil that if we allow it to take hold, it destroys lives and it kills people. Ballpark number, 100 million people. Ballpark died in the 20th century.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, under socialism. That's a number that, you know, of course, Hitler contributed to that number, but we compare that number to the Holocaust, and it pales. It's just insane.
How many people wound up dying in Mao's march across China?
I want to say 20 to 40 million.
How many people died in Stalin and Lenin's?
I think it was
come to power?
Similar number there too. And it's not. We want to think of it. A lot of people will think of socialism as caring for your fellow man and doing what you can to take care of him. But when the state attempts to take care of you, you get the unintended consequences, and it destroys lives. Look at the people in Venezuela. Look at the people all over the world that have lived under this horrible system of government.
Right, and you mentioned, you know, when the state tries to take care of you, there are unintended consequences. Former Libertarian presidential candidate Harry Brown used to say, the government breaks your leg and hands you a crutch and then says, aren't you glad you can walk now? Look, you have a crutch.
Right. And that's the only thing they have to offer. Unfortunately, there's a lot of financial and power enticements for people to implement those systems, and it's just one of those things that we have to be wary of whenever anybody comes up and says, we're from the government and we're here to help.
Yeah.
That's your first clue to be skeptical.
Let's go to the phones, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Andrew calling in from Wichita, Kansas. Andrew, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hey, can you hear me well?
Yep, go ahead with your thoughts.
Yes, I would like to cuss out the Democrats for picking another billionaire TV host to compete against Donald Trump against.
Well, you can't cuss at anyone because we are on broadcast radio.
Not cuss.
No. Right? No, you said you want to cuss out the Democrats. I'm just saying that you can say mean things about them, but just no profanity.
So what's wrong with a Oprah presidency?
A billionaire goofball TV host.
What wasn't that Trump's suggestion back in the late 90s that Oprah run for president?
Oh, I don't know.
Before he ran for president that first time in the year 2000 that he conveniently forgot about on Twitter a few days ago.
Right. So what do you think?
One of my complaints.
Go ahead.
One of my Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
go
ahead.
It's my turn. One of my complaints is that in Donald Trump's show, he was given the opportunity to get a job, The Apprentice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And did with the job performance and whatnot, and whoever won the job performance thing would get a job that was desirable for the people that were involved with it. And also, Oprah, with her show, she was giving away cars for everyone that was involved with it.
Yeah.
And if you take the phrase, if you give a man a fish, you feed him for one day. If you teach a man to fish, like Donald Trump was trying to do, the phrase ends with, why didn't you just give him an EBT card?
My favorite.
I don't think that's how the phrase goes. Hold on, Andrew.
He comes from the EBT card is free, right?
Right.
But do you think that Donald Trump was actually giving these millionaires jobs that they wanted? Because most of the people wasn't it the Celebrity Apprentice to where everybody was already some really rich famous person trying to get a job with Donald Trump?
Well, they may have been famous, but I don't think all of them were rich.
But yes, at the end it was.
Yeah, I watched the original Apprentice for a couple seasons.
But isn't the phrase if you teach or if you give a man a fish, you feed him for one day?
Right. I think
if you teach a man to fish, you feed him for the rest of his life. Thank you for the call, Andrew. Your calls and thoughts. Welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Yeah, and didn't Trump tweet something earlier today that caused some trouble? We'll tell you about it.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, January 11th, 2018. Silver is trading at $17.01 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,319 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $55, and the average price of Bitcoin is $13,802. Antiwar.com reports further adding to the soaring civilian death toll in Yemen. Saudi warplanes attacked a marketplace in northern Yemeni Sada province on Wednesday, killing at least 11 people and wounding 5 others. It is unclear why the market was attacked or if any combatants were located anywhere near the targeted site. Health officials confirmed an 11-year-old boy was among those killed, however. As civilian deaths have surged in recent weeks, it's become increasingly common for such incidents to happen without any official Saudi accounting for why the site was targeted. Marketplaces and other obvious civilian targets are being hit with alarming regularity. The Shiite-dominated homeland of the Houthi movement, the Sada province, has been increasingly the focus of Saudi airstrikes, with attacks hitting population centers instead of anything remotely military in nature.
Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores.
UPI reports immigration agents conducted pre-dawn interviews at 7-Eleven stores throughout the country on Wednesday, arresting 21 people. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, said agents raided nearly 100 stores to audit employee records and interview employees, according to the Washington Post. Thomas Homan, acting director of ICE, said today's actions send a strong message to U.S. businesses that hire and employ illegal workforce. ICE will enforce the law, and if you are found to be breaking the law, you will be held accountable. The Staten Island Advance in New York reported agents raided 3 area stores. Employees at 2 of the stores said no arrests were made there. One manager, whose name was not reported, said they were here for like 15 minutes or so, then they left when everything was good. Nestor Iglesias, a spokesman for ICE, told the Sun-Sentinel in Florida that agents visited 7 stores in Broward, Miami-Dade, and Palm Beach counties. The newspaper said the audits could result in criminal charges or fines for stores found to be hiring undocumented immigrants. Agents visited 7-Eleven stores in Washington, D.C. and 17 states. Homan said ICE will continue to protect jobs for American workers by eliminating unfair competitive advantages for companies that exploit illegal immigration. In 2013, ICE officials arrested 9 7-Eleven owners and managers for employing undocumented immigrants and paid them with Social Security numbers belonging to dead people or children. All but one pled guilty to fraud charges and were required to pay more than $2.6 million in back wages.
For over 40 years, Robertson Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Robertson Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Robertson Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
Roy Reuters reports Vermont's Senate on Wednesday passed a bill to legalize recreational cannabis use, which would make it the first state in the nation to do so through the legislative process rather than a ballot initiative. Republican Governor Phil Scott is expected to sign the bill, which passed the Democratic-controlled Senate by a voice vote. The Democratic-controlled House of Representatives passed the measure last week. Although Vermont is one of the most politically liberal states, it is also one of 23 in the nation that do not allow ballot initiatives. The Vermont bill would allow those 21 and older to possess up to 1 ounce of cannabis, 2 adult plants, and 4 immature plants beginning July 1st. It does not immediately clear the way for retail sales of cannabis, leaving that up to a commission created last year to study how it should be taxed and regulated. Passage puts the state at odds with the Trump administration. Last week, Attorney General Jeff Sessions reversed an Obama-era policy easing enforcement of federal laws banning cannabis in 8 states where it was legal. Neighboring Massachusetts, nearby Maine, and 6 other states have legalized cannabis use as a result of voter initiatives. The New Hampshire House of Representatives on Tuesday passed a similar bill to legalize recreational cannabis use. That state's governor, Republican Chris Sununu, said he is opposed to legalization. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
The American robin heralds the beginning of spring in temperate climates across North America. Its red breast makes it easily identifiable as the most disturbingly efficient murderer in the animal kingdom. Robins inculcate their young with these twisted maws. We see an adult robin feeding its young with the ripped apart viscerae of an innocent worm. Like the Greek hero Atreus eating the flesh of his children at his own table, this black deed must surely curse the entire species. Even the most depraved acts of humanity pale in comparison to the robin's wickedness. Like idiot rapists, they commit their foul deeds with neither foresight nor hindsight. They live entirely in the present. Living beyond space and time, their god is the awful seething maelstrom of chaos at the center of the unfeeling universe.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, kicking off our number 3 in studio tonight. It's Daryl
and Chris, and
you can join us by calling toll free 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Somebody needs to take away Donald Trump's Twitter. Because apparently he was tweeting something and it caused some problems during a vote on FISA or something.
Not a problem. The people that believe that we need to spy on our own citizens won.
Okay, well, that's a problem.
It's a problem
I
for
see
me.
That as a problem.
But it evidently didn't cause any real problems with Republican leadership that proposed it.
I saw some kind of headline. I don't remember from where, but said something about Trump's tweets during vote something. So you've actually got a story about this, as well as the tweets written in crayon, because you've got this plug-in.
I got a plug-in for Chrome, and it's used with Twitter, and it's called Make Trump 8 Again, and it changes all his tweets from the normal text of Twitter into crayon childlike scratchings. So I always have a hard time reading his tweets.
Right.
But
so I found the headline that I was looking for. Trump's FISA tweets throw Washington into chaos.
Yep. And the LA Times says Trump's tweets on surveillance bill show gap between his personal views and his administration's position.
And another headline before you jump into this from Slate: a befuddled Donald Trump almost undermined the GOP's surveillance agenda.
And Cato kind of cuts to the chase and says House votes to reauthorize FISA Section 702 mass surveillance program. That, to me, is what this is all about. I could care less what Donald Trump, our president, decides to tweet and whether it throws Washington into turmoil. From this article, President Trump publicly contradicted a major policy position of his administration Thursday, the second time he did so in a week in which the White House has sought to beat back questions about his stability and grasp of policy details. The incident provides a new and striking example of the contradiction between Trump's dueling identities as an individual often guided by impulses, grievances, and what he sees on television, and Trump the president responsible for taking a broader view of government and security issues. The events began Thursday morning when Trump sent a tweet that rattled the national security community and Republican lawmakers, nearly derailing a vote in the House on one of the administration's top national security priorities, renewing the National Security Agency's broad authority to conduct surveillance of foreigners without warrants, including those communicating with U.S. citizens. The bill eventually passed the House 256 to 164, but only after Speaker Paul D. Ryan and others intervened with Trump, prompting him to send a second tweet that partially walked back his earlier criticism of the surveillance law. The extension of the surveillance authority still faces uncertainty in the Senate, where Kentucky Senator Rand Paul, a Republican, has threatened a filibuster.
I wonder if the filibuster will wind up being like his previous ones, to where he talked for some period of time and then wound up voting for what the thing was that he claimed he opposed.
Yeah, I hope not. Trump's initial tweet insisted angrily and contrary to all known evidence that the NSA's surveillance program might have been used to spy on his campaign during the 2016 election. Quote, "This is an act that may have been used with the help of the discredited and phony dossier to so badly surveil and abuse the Trump campaign by the previous administrations and others, ? Trump wrote. The tweet came shortly after Fox and Friends, Trump's favorite program and a frequent inspiration for his Twitter account, aired a segment in which Andrew Napolitano, a commentator, offered scathing criticism of the surveillance program. Quote, "Mr. President, this is not the way to go," he said, looking into the camera. White House officials would not say whether Napolitano's comment prompted Trump's tweet. After talking to Ryan, Trump issued a second tweet more supportive of the surveillance authority. With that being said, I have personally directed the fix in the unmasking process since taking office, and today's vote is about foreign surveillance of foreign bad guys on foreign land. We need it. Get smart. Well, Daryl, the problem is if one of those people in foreign lands who are pretty much, in some cases, unidentifiable, happen to be talking to a U.S. citizen, then guess what? The U.S. citizen is also being surveilled.
Right, and my understanding of some of these programs is that it's not just the American that is in contact with the foreigner, but also everybody that's in contact with the American that's in contact with the foreigner.
Yeah, and I can't remember the specifics, but I think it's sort of like 2 or 3 degrees of Kevin Bacon. If it's somebody talked to somebody who talked to somebody, then that qualifies as a legally surveillable source.
Yeah, I've pulled up an article here from Wired, and just jumping to the very end where they mention Trump's tweet saying, "We need Section 702. They say, frankly, the president doesn't seem to understand how Section 702 works. He's not alone.
Yeah.
And they're right.
Right.
Because most people don't know how Section 702 of the FISA Act actually works. And something that is incredibly scary, also from the Wired article here, much of the debate leading up to the vote has been shrouded in secrecy. The intelligence community has largely refused to provide lawmakers and the public with detailed information about how Section 702's programs operate and, crucially, how effective they actually are. ACLU Legislative Counsel Nima Singh Guliani said, "There's a lot of inaccuracies that are put out about it. These enormous mischaracterizations are put out." During the lead-up to the vote, the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, chaired by Republican Congressman Devin Nunes, circulated a fear-mongering flyer that said adding privacy protections to Section 702 would make it impossible for law enforcement to surface intelligence about a hypothetical suspicious vehicle parked outside of the Washington Monument. The misleading rhetoric surrounding 702 tripped up Trump as he appeared to contradict his own party's stance, and then it gets into discussion about the tweets.
Right, and what this is really about, if I can boil it all down to why this thing gives me heartburn.
Yes, let's boil it down.
It's about warrantless surveillance. So what this allows our foreign intelligence, our national intelligence community to do is, without warrant, surveil people. And I'm sorry, that is as un-American as you can possibly get. Everyone has rights that are protected under the Fourth Amendment, and you cannot be searched or surveilled or have your personal effects and documents read, and that includes electronic documents in my mind, without a warrant. And this is a brief fact from Human Rights Watch that talks about a couple things. Warrantless surveillance designed to monitor Americans and others. The problem with this thing is it still allows things like the NSA's PRISM program, which allows, basically the NSA and the FBI to scoop up all social media. That's what PRISM did.
Right.
All social media posts, all social media private messages, instant messages, anything like that. It can scoop them up, and should they need them later on, then they'll use them. Or they'll search for keywords, or they'll do all sorts of things like that.
Right, and some of the keywords, the article here from Wired mentions how this renewal is actually worse than what the text previously was.
Right.
They reference what is called about collection, meaning that if two people, who neither of whom are suspects, talk about someone who is a suspect.
Oh, jeez.
What wound up passing the U.S. House today would authorize that to again be collected, even if it's two Americans talking about someone. This is Free Talk Live.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
From the first letter of Captain Mark. History is full of flowery documents claiming to limit the power of the crown, but these poetic social contracts have been impotent to prevent the predation. Limited government is a lie they use to keep us submissive. The crown cannot be trusted to abide by its founding charters, nor its treaties, nor even its own rules. The essence of the crown is centralized violence, and I've had enough. That's why I raised my black banner. I am no revolutionary. My aim is not to reset the cycle of violence, but to break it. My aim is an evolved society, invisible to the crown. Not a new hierarchy, but decentralized networks with no central figure for the crown to target. If you want your servile life, keep it, but we will not submit to the crown's agenda. And when you are ready to stop being its beast of burden, ready for adventure and opportunity, join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1. Share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com. We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Daryl.
And Chris.
And we're talking about the absolutely horrible, horrible thing that wound up passing the U.S. House today that goes to the U.S. Senate. Talking about the FISA reauthorization of Section 702 that, as Wired points out, is actually worse than simply reauthorizing, because they wind up giving the NSA and other federal government spying entities more powers than what they had previously, or actually more than what they currently have, because, again, this still has to go to the Senate and then to the president's desk, and depending on what mood Trump's in, he might accidentally veto it, even though he supports it, because it
depends on what Fox and Friends says.
One headline from the Washington Post says, for the second time in 3 days, Trump plays catch up with what his White House is actually doing. And as Chris pointed out, depends on what Fox and Friends winds up saying. We'll continue with that story in just a moment. But maybe you're concerned about economics. Maybe you are concerned about finances and you want a better financial system for everyone. Then consider joining Dash. Dash is digital cash. It's a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast. It's easy. It can be private. The fees are low. The transactions are fast, or can even be confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime, for just pennies. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the network. Join Dash and help create a better financial system for everyone. Take back control over your financial future today. Find out more at dash.org. There's a lot of momentum behind Dash, so go to dash.org and find out why. Again, story from Wired. Congress renews warrantless surveillance and makes it even worse. Not reading the entire article, but they do say that some gains to Section 702 reform had been made prior to this most recent bill. In April, so not quite a year ago, the NSA halted one kind of surveillance authorized under Section 702, referred to as about collection. It stopped amassing conversations concerning foreign targets, but that weren't from the target or to the target themselves. If two people discussing a terrorist email address in a text message or an email, for example, their communications could previously get swept into an NSA database despite not being of specific intelligent interest itself.
Right. So we could be talking about a YouTube video of an ISIS beheading.
Right, or someone that we know the U.S. government wants to arrest, Mr. Julian Assange. Even though he's not a terrorist, suspected terrorist, they still want to arrest him as,
correct,
all the same. So if I just wind up sending an email and I mention Julian Assange, WikiLeaks,
I'm going to send you a telegram right now,
could wind up being swept into this NSA database. Again, the spy program halted, or the spy agency halted that program of about collection because they could not stop accidentally collecting information belonging to Americans. But the bill passed by Congress, or at least one house of Congress, opens the door to reintroducing about collection in emergency situations only, though emergency is not defined, leaving room for broad interpretations.
Right, and don't forget, in this entire thing, you still have programs like Prism and Keyhole and all these others that are just mass collecting all your data anyway.
Yes.
This stuff doesn't go away. If you're on Facebook right now and you're, instant messaging with your mom, that the entirety of that conversation is being recorded and preserved. And if at some point you say the wrong keyword, and the keywords used to be things like dirty bomb or gasoline or chemical plant, words that you could use in all sorts of different ways.
So what kind of chemicals do you use to make sure that your plant grows to be nice and green?
Right. You could have that conversation with somebody, and that would get you flagged. And somewhere along the line,
should I pick up some fertilizer? Because fertilizer is also one of those sort of weird, tricky things.
In your diesel truck?
Because fertilizer has, legitimate purposes, but can also be used to make a dirty bomb.
Right, but if I say fertilizer and diesel in the same sentence, that's a double flag, and I'm sure that's going to get it. The point is the government has no constitutional bounds, no constitutional grounds to do this sort of collection. And I'm a guy who used to really put a lot of faith in our Constitution. Look, here are these protections from government. The Bill of Rights is basically designed to protect you from your government getting out of control. And in this, it has failed.
Here's something interesting that I don't know how many golfers we have that listen to the show, but I found out when I used to work for an airline that apparently golfers wind up testing false positive for bomb residue on a fairly significant basis because of all the fertilizer used on the greens and whatnot. So if somebody goes golfing regularly and they've been down and pick up their balls that have been rolling around in the grass and the fertilizer, and then they go through TSA and the TSA guy does the little hand swab thing, yep, you're getting a false positive.
Unbelievable.
The article here from Wired continues, in the event that about collection does resume, experts say the new legislation would allow for a far more broad interpretation, or rather broad implementation. Now just mentioning a target rather than an identifier like their email address could get you sucked into the dragnet. Elizabeth Gotein, co-director of the Liberty and National Security Program at New York University's School of Law's Brennan Center for Justice, says not only does this bill say you have our blessing to collect communications that contain a target's email address, it also endorses collecting communications that merely contain a reference to the target.
Yeah.
So literally, if you and I send an email to one another that had the word ISIS in it, if you and I send an email that talks about ISIS, under this bill, the government is authorized to collect that, assuming
the Egyptian
ISIS
God?
is a group that the NSA is specifically targeting.
Of course.
Doesn't matter if you're referring to the Egyptian god or not. The International Society of International Societies.
Yeah, good example.
Any kind of thing, you're using something that we want, so therefore, yep, oh, you're an American, doesn't matter, you have no rights. This is Free Talk Live. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com. Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size for incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency. Get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
Tomorrow's my big day. I'm going to go in for surgery, and hopefully you'll come along. Now, I do have to admit that I am in a bit of pain, so I'm really looking forward to this procedure. I think we're both going to find out that having surgery just isn't as scary as it sounds.
We're covering our own Jim Haggerty's kidney stone removal surgery, and his surgery is now just minutes away. So, Dr. Atka, tell us what precautions we would take to prevent us from getting kidney stones.
Always stay hydrated. Water helps the kidneys break the stuff down.
Hear that, Jim? More water.
What?
More water. Maybe we should replace your coffee.
Please go away. Please. Ow, no.
That's a camera they're going to use to film the whole surgery from inside Jim's body,
yes, that's going to be pushed into Jim's urethra as well. Now, normally they wouldn't do this. This is purely for the benefit of us watching it on TV.
All right, stick with us, because first he's going to pop into the children's ward to cheer up some youngsters suffering from terminal illnesses.
This is the Onion News Network.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your get intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Your calls and thoughts welcome, whether it be about warrantless surveillance, surveillance with a warrant, FISA, the existence of the NSA, the use of so-called about collection, that is where somebody isn't necessarily the target of the NSA, but they're talking about a target for the NSA. Again, Elizabeth Gotein, who's co-director of the Liberty and National Security Program at New York University School of Law's Brennan Center for Justice, says, so literally, if you and I send an email to one another that had the word ISIS in it, assuming ISIS is an NSA target, if you and I send that email that talks about ISIS, under this bill, the government is authorized to collect that email. The bill does impose a warrant requirement upon the FBI, but the way it's written appears to weaken privacy protections rather than strengthen them. Under the FBI, or under the legislation, FBI needs a warrant to search the Section 702 database when a criminal investigation has already been opened, but not when national security is involved. That means the FBI can query the database on nothing more than a tip. Gotein says it incentivizes doing searches earlier and earlier when it's less and less justified.
Unreal. Here's a couple of, this is a dated list. This is from 2013. This is when 702 and the NSA spying first came out. But some of the words that...
Not when they first... When it first became public.
Thank you. But a couple of the words that were on that list were dictionary, sweeping, ionosphere, military intelligence, Steve Case, and Scully.
Scully, as in X-Files?
Mulder and Scully. Also other words, NSA. If you talk about CIA, if you talk about FBI, if you mention Secret Service.
So the first rule of NSA Section 702 warrantless spying is you're not allowed to mention NSA Section 702 warrantless spying, Secret Service, NSA bomb dirty.
I don't know when
vacuum cleaner dictionary.
I don't know when the law changed, but saying the word NSA or National Security Agency was actually a federal offense.
Okay, Google. NSA.
Let me see if I can find some other. Spetsnaz, electronic surveillance, security evaluation, high security, corporate security, police, sniper. These are domestic disruptions, smuggle, nitrate, enigma, competitor.
Saying, I want some nitrate-free bacon.
Jasmine. Vanille. These are our words.
What?
Keyhole, artichoke, badger, cornflower, daisy, egret. Now, I tell you what some of these are. Some of these are sensitive compartmented information code words. Here's a good one. Guess what? Trump. Trump was on the 2013 list provided by Edward Snowden.
My nitrates are the trump card for bulletproof microwave sweeper dictionaries.
Sneakers. Elvis.
So basically anything.
Get this one. Playboy, porn stars, or sex. I'm just skimming through a few of these. How about beef?
Hold on. Where's this list coming from?
This was published back in the day by Business Insider.
Okay, so a somewhat reputable entity.
Yes.
If you had told me, like InfoPlanet or bobs.blogspot.com or something, I wouldn't necessarily give any credence to this. But
yeah, but these are, different words and phrases that could cause you to have your data searched. These are keywords. Now, realize that now it's 2017. A lot of those keywords have probably dropped off, but a whole lot of new ones have probably been put on there too by, various administrations and political appointees.
Yeah, absolutely scary. It is really the only way to describe this is scary. The fact that, there's some government entity in Washington, D.C., a bunch of faceless bureaucrats that sit around collecting information all day long, and a lot of it is probably information they're never going to do anything with, which makes it even scarier. Why are you collecting this if you're not doing anything with it?
Right. And again, get a damn warrant. If you have reason to suspect that somebody is a terrorist or may be involved in plotting something where the loss of human life is a probability, then I'm going to be behind you. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm going to say, yes, please go to a judge, get that warrant, make sure it's all above board, and then go find out what this person's doing. And I realize that, sometimes that's going to hit somebody who's innocent. But we have, or we're at least supposed to have, some checks and balances that are going to protect people that have no reason to be surveilled. And this whole thing flies in the face of that.
Right. And, as soon as you mentioned about the credible threat sort of thing, that reminded me of Twitter's recent policy on violent speech, to where they said something along the lines of, and I'm trying to pull this up on the fly on live radio, where they said something along the lines of, we're not going to consider anything posted by government agents to be threats, even if
they talked about burner guns, and then they specifically
stuff.
Right, and they specifically exclude governments from terroristic threats or anything else.
Yeah. So, again, I'm trying to find the actual wording, and I can't on the fly here. But, yeah, it's just one of those sorts of things here. Here we go. Some examples of behavior that will not fall under this policy: acts of war, military attacks, state-sanctioned executions, and natural disasters. However, we will take enforcement action if any of the above glorify violence where protected categories have been the primary targets or victims. And then under violent threats, something. But again, I do recall there was a specific reference that they would not wind up going after government entities, or political leaders, which again is basically saying that, government is a monopoly on the quote-unquote legitimate use of violence.
Yeah, it was pretty clear that was going to be the one exception that they weren't going to they just weren't going to pursue. And I was like, wow, did Twitter really just acknowledge that governments have a monopoly on legal violence? And it was pretty clear.
But remember, it wasn't that long ago that Barack Obama said the same thing in an interview.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Acknowledged it.
Acknowledged.
Like,
government
did I hear that correctly?
A monopoly on the use of violence.
Yeah. Well, it's good. Some people recognize that. You and I recognize that. I mean, it's a key thing that most people can't comprehend, that they've never given any thought to. But government can act violently, and without consequence. It can threaten acts of violence without consequence, and that's not what this country was founded on.
Yep, and headline from the Washington Post, not dealing directly with violence, but definitely with theft. New tax guidelines rely on workers to double-check their paychecks. Yeah, that's right. They steal the money from you, and then you have to make sure that they stole the correct amount of money from you. We'll tell you about it, plus your calls and thoughts. 855-450-FREE.
Thinking about getting into cryptocurrency? It's time you looked into Dash. Dash is digital money that you can use to send instant and private payments anywhere for pennies. Dash offers a decentralized network where miners are rewarded for keeping it strong and safe. Dash has made a huge impact in the crypto world. Start your journey. Check out Dash.org for more information. And get in now on the future of cryptocurrency. Dash.org.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core wallet that allows you to send and receive either currency with anyone, anywhere in the world. The Bitcoin.com wallet supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. Download the Bitcoin.com wallet for easy and secure access to your Bitcoin Core and your Bitcoin Cash. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available for Android, iOS, Windows, Mac, and even Linux. Learn more at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
People search the internet for everything, including you. With a few clicks, information from your past can be quickly discovered, from business deals gone wrong to misleading reviews, negative articles, and unflattering images. Studies show 78% of people search for someone online before doing business with them. Will they find the real you? With ReputationDefender.com, you can establish a positive internet presence. ReputationDefender.com pioneered the field with over a decade of experience, serving thousands of successful individuals and businesses. We use patented, award-winning systems to boost positive content and suppress negative material. Don't let the internet define you. Take control of your reputation today with ReputationDefender.com. For your quick, free reputation analysis, call 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what the readers of FreedomsPhoenix.com get every day. FreedomsPhoenix.com, constantly providing the information, the real news about government policies, and the real relationship we all have with the coercive government. The real condition of the economy, innovations in technology, breakthroughs in energy, health, and computer science. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media. The corporate media, nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but now there's an alternative. FreedomsPhoenix.com. Constant news updates on the issues that affect your life in the most important ways. With liberty and property under constant attack, FreedomsPhoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda, and it encourages the participation of its readers. Go to FreedomsPhoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, Phoenix.com. FreedomsPhoenix.com. The revolution between the ears has already happened.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We'll get back to the phones in just a moment. But first, I want to make sure that I tell you about the Blink Home Security System. It's a home security system that you can get delivered right to your front door or your side door if that's where packages wind up going at your house. But what you do with this system is you download an app to your mobile device, and it will walk you through a fairly easy setup. Even if you have a complicated router system or are not technically inclined, it should not take you more than about 10 or 15 minutes to go through the setup. And you can either get notified whenever something moves in front of the wireless camera. Yeah, that's right. It's a truly wireless camera. Or you can just look at the camera whenever you want to from that mobile device. And have we got a deal for you? Get 3 Blink security cameras for what the other guys charge for 1. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL, as in Free Talk Live. That's Blink Protect, all one word, blinkprotect.com/FTL. One more time, blinkprotect.com/FTL. So I found the wording from Twitter's policy on their Enforcing Our Rules page. Violent extremist groups. Twitter says, quote, "We also prohibit accounts that affiliate with organizations that use or promote violence against civilians to further their causes. Groups included in this policy will be those that identify as such or engage in activity both on and off this platform that promotes violence. This policy does not apply to military or government entities, and we will consider exceptions for groups that are currently engaged in or have been engaged in peaceful resolution."
See, people, we live in a country where even Twitter has to spell out, I mean, by terroristic activities and things like that, we don't mean our government.
We don't mean the United States military, the Saudi military, the military of Israel, the military of Yemen, the military of any government.
We know they're going to act terroristically and threateningly.
And by government, we mean entities that we deem to be government. So I'm guessing they're not considering ISIS, which is the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria. They're not considering them to be government.
No,
because they don't have international recognition.
Right. But if they did, no problem.
I'm guessing they probably also don't recognize the Kurds as government, even though the Kurds do have limited autonomy within Iraq, Syria, and Turkey.
Well, North Korea gets a pass.
But North Korea has international recognition as a government.
There you go. So no problem. No problem with North Korea.
No problem with Donald Trump threatening nuclear war recently, saying my button is bigger than yours. What the hell was that all about?
It's just,
I've got a nuclear button too, and it's bigger than yours.
My first thought was, but how tiny is that going to make your hands look now if your button's that big?
Can you push that button with your tiny, tiny hands?
Oh, jeez.
You weird orange Oompa Loompa. Let's go to the phones. We've got Sarah calling in from Albuquerque. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Yes, no, I wanted to ask you guys. You guys say you guys live in state of New Hampshire.
Yep.
Yes, we do.
And then that is supposed to be the most the libertarian, the most freest state.
According to the Freedom in the 50 States Index that was done about a year ago, New Hampshire is the freest state currently in the United States of America.
Okay, my question is, did you know that you guys have executions and you guys execute one person like every 20 years?
That would be completely incorrect. The last part, there is the death penalty in New Hampshire. The last time it was used was, I believe, 1937, might have been 1939, but it's been a really long time since the government in the state of New Hampshire has actually put someone to death. There is currently one person sitting on death row.
I was going to ask, Daryl, has legislation come up by anybody we know to do away with that?
There has been legislation several times in the nearly 6 years that I've been here. And a couple of years ago, I forget exactly what year it was, but the last time that it came up, made it through the House, went to the Senate, and then died in the Senate with a 12-12 tie on every vote. So the original vote was pass the bill, 12-12 tie.
No kidding.
Then they voted to kill the bill, 12-12 tie. Then they voted to reconsider, 12-12 tie. Then they voted to table, 12-12 tie. No more motions could be made, and so then the bill just died.
Well, I'm all for... go ahead.
Well, the thing is, why I am trying to get the death penalty back in New Mexico, and we're going to get it back with our next governor.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, the thing about it is, how come you guys live in a state with a death penalty, okay, and you don't want it for me? When we have 70 people...
I don't want it to exist here. I don't want the death penalty to exist anywhere.
Right.
Do you know why, Sarah? Do you know why I don't want the death penalty? Because it takes money from people and then is used to kill someone, which basically means that you're taking money from people that don't want people being killed with their money, and you are forcing them to pay to kill somebody. And that is more immoral than killing people. And do you also know how many people have been exonerated after spending years and years on death row? It's about 10% of the people that have ever been on death row.
So far,
which means that there are probably innocent people that have been executed. Which means you're killing... Sarah, are you okay with killing innocent people?
That's a yes.
No, I'm mad because next year, listen to me, okay? Albuquerque, we're going to kill 80 people next year, and after the year after that, it's going to be 85, and after that, it's going to be 95. If we continue with no death penalty, we're going to have murder rates go up, add like 5 people. I have to live here.
Hold on.
And we used to have death penalty.
How about, you mean like New Hampshire? Like how our murder rates have gone up and our rape rates have gone up? We're one of the safest places on earth, not just saying in the United States.
Right, but no, she's claiming that the only reason we're safe is because we have the death penalty that's not been used in damn near 80 years.
Since 1939.
There is no statistical evidence at all to suggest that the existence of the death penalty has any noticeable effect on murder rates.
So that
at all.
That would be really good to research. Would you agree with that?
I can tell you right now. Look. I can tell you that New Mexico, Albuquerque, we had the highest death rate in 20 years, and we got rid of it just 10 years ago. What is that? Our murder rate has gone up since we got rid of it 10 years ago.
What was the murder rate 20 years before?
Right.
You need to look not just at one number, but you need to look, were there trends? And then look at all of the states surrounding New Mexico and compare the murder rates there. See, do those states have the death penalty? Do they not? Because I've actually looked into all of these numbers, and I can tell you as a matter of fact, 100%, there is no evidence that the existence of the death penalty has any effect at all on whether or not people wind up killing people. Thank you for the call, Sarah.
I would have loved to hear her retort on that, but we know what it would have been.
She would have just repeated something that she had previously said because that's how her calls go.
I know. ACLU reported that as of 2011, 273 people, including 17 death row inmates, had been exonerated just by the use of DNA testing. And there's a lot of reasons that I oppose the death penalty. Again, forcing people to take part in the murder of another human being, or not even murder. If you feel that that person's guilty and needs to die, to take part in the killing, because your money's going to go towards that. But the fact is that there are a whole lot of people that have been found to be innocent.
Yes.
As technology improves and as we go back and look at these crimes, I cannot subscribe to the idea that, well, if we save one life, it's worth it. No, if you kill an innocent human being, then you have committed murder, and that's murder on behalf of the state.
Right, and
if
you force somebody else to pay for it that doesn't want to pay for it, you are being immoral.
Yes, I agree with that completely, and I know that's not a view held by everyone. I know a lot of hard law and order Republicans who favor a death penalty, and I'm sorry, I can't get behind it. I understand what you're saying, but I can't agree with it.
And then the length of time that people are sitting on death row, you're killing a completely different person than who wound up committing the crime 35, 40 years ago in some cases.
Yeah.
That's it for tonight, but we are always online, and we will be back tomorrow. This has been Free Talk Live.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw